I think so.
My name is Amy. I'll be floating in the hallway up here. If anything goes wrong, fly me out. I just need to get your name to make sure the sign up there is correct.
Okay, Joe can't see all of it. C-A-N-C-I-D. Oh, no.
Okay.
And Henry's phone is back there in the suit.
R-U-H is it?
Hey, thank you.
Have fun.
Thanks.
Is it 45 minutes open?
Yeah, I saw a lot of people that just last 10 minutes motion transfer information. That's what Aaron was.
Why don't you just finish up introduce yourself and I'll just take a brief intro and finance it. You're gonna get further.
I don't have That's beautiful.
Did you get married there?
We didn't go to the waiting list.
Oh, there's a waiting list here.
We'll do that.
What's up, man? Long time no see. Oh, you haven't met? Oh, I'm sorry. And Joe? He is president already, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, my colleague, Lena, she's in Puerto Rico.
Rowena, nice to meet you.
And she's running a racing.
Okay.
Awesome. Good. Shout out to Lena.
Hello everyone, my name is Ruz. I'm from Ready AI and my colleague Joe.
Hi, Joe Cancielo from Union Area School District. I'm the technology director there.
Well, thank you so much for coming. Old military habit, I'm going to start promptly on time. So it's 11:30, I'm going to get started. First of all, thanks for being here. One of our colleagues, Emily, could not be here due to some school issues, and so Joe will carry the burden, and he will do the presentation. So today, I will talk to you about, first of all, can you hear me in the back? Okay. Let me know if you can't. I'm going to go to the microphone, but I don't think it's needed. So today I'm going to talk to you about our AI journey. And frankly, when I talk about our AI journey, I'm talking about not just our journey as an AI company, but actually how we've been working with schools in our AI journey, if it does go forward. Oh, here we go. How many of you have brought artificial intelligence in some shape or form to your schools? Very good. How many of you have brought artificial intelligence education to every grade in your school district? I see only one. Are you sure every grade, Bill? I know your school. Bill is from Montour School, from David E. Williams School District. AI is such a new topic, and when we started working with Carnegie Mellon to bring AI education to K-12, and as Ready AI, we have been one of the first AI comprehensive curriculum providers in the country. We got together with a committee, and by the way, if there's anything you want to take away from this presentation, remember the 5 big ideas in AI. So we got together with Carnegie Mellon, and the idea behind it is, what type of framework do we need to come up with in terms of guidelines, and what should we bring to the K-12 level? And the committee comes from an organization that's known as a triple AI. Another, if there's one organization you want to remember in the AI realm and education, it should be triple AI. It stands for Associations for Advancement of Artificial Intelligence. And they have a subcommittee for AI for K-12, and they came up with the guidelines of what kids should learn at the K-12 level. And they came up with 5 big ideas: perception, representation and reasoning, learning, bit of machine learning, natural interactions, and societal impact. And what the schools have been doing, what we've been doing, is we've been unpacking these with lesson plans and curriculums for school districts, not just in the United States, but also abroad. Since AI is such a new topic, we thought we should not really go with just lesson plans. We should start everyone's AI experience with what we call it get a feel of what AI is all about. So we designed a course around these 5 big ideas called AI Plus Me. And the idea behind it is for this to be designed for every student, every teacher, every parent to have an idea of what are the things that we're talking about and how do we measure it. You know, kids today are big YouTubers. So how does YouTube make those recommendations? What those recommendations are all about. So the whole idea behind it is to go through that 45 minutes experience. This has been tested not just in the United States, but also abroad as well. So with that, let me actually pass it on to Joe to tell you a little bit about how they started the AI journey.
Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm from Union Area School District. Most of you probably have not heard about us because we're a small district with about 750 students. We're at roughly the 50% free and reduced lunch rate. That's one of those numbers where, you know, once you go above 50, you get money. You're also looked at as having a certain population or demographic. We have coding and STEAM like everyone else, right? That's the big thing, coding and STEAM. That's become a district-wide initiative, but we were kind of at a standstill. So we have this initiative, right? Everyone's doing coding, everyone's involved in STEAM. How do we move beyond just repetitive actions, just following directions and doing the same thing over and over? We're looking for ways to engage the student population beyond the standard coding. So code.org, love it, it's great to start out with. But we will want to become creators of content, not just consumers of content. So the connection actually is Carnegie Mellon. John Baelish gave us some Cosmos. So Cosmos, if you haven't seen them, are neat little robots, have a lot of personality. We were coding them to do routes, pick up blocks, move them around. We had fun with them, but then we kind of put them away. So we were done with them. So they went over onto the shelf, they got some dust, until we met Ruse and Ready AI. So I'll briefly describe West Middlesex, which, if you can see from the presentation, we're kind of similar. So they're a school district of about 850 students. They started integrating STEAM courses at the middle school level. Emily, much like myself, attended a workshop at CMU where we kind of hooked into and discovered Ready AI. And one of the focuses on West Middlesex is career readiness. So with artificial intelligence being important, we want to teach our students now, what is artificial intelligence? What can it do? Where do we go from here? We got to get our students ready for the careers of the future. So Emily and I are friends. We work together. So this natural relationship of a partnership to work on our own Lawrence County, Mercer County competition came about pretty naturally.
What was I about it?
Sure. So like, as I mentioned, we were kind of at the bottom of the Bloom's taxonomy. We can do a lot of regurgitating. We can remember how to recall facts, do the code. So when I draw a circle, our kids could do it, right? They started to understand what this means. What does this code mean? We're doing a lot of Blockly coding. Again, this is before we get into our senior high CS classes. So we wanted to make this more engaging, more interesting. So we need to hit the apply level and the analyze level. The exhibition, which we like to refer to it as the demonstration of skills, allowed us to get to this apply level, the analyze level, come up with different ideas, thought processes, go beyond of, okay, we're going to code, we're going to go up, make a turn, make a left, pick up a block. Great, everyone can do that. Let's go further. So, what we came up with, Lawrence Mercer County Artificial Intelligence Competition for Youth. We start out small because, again, like I said, we have a good working relationship with Emily. So it's our two schools. We each had 4 teams comprised of about 4 to 5 students each, with each of our schools taking slightly different approaches to the competition, mostly because of the way our curriculums are set up. The big question we had is, how can artificial intelligence make your community a better place? Some of the examples could be, we have an old lady, she needs to get her groceries out of the car. How can she do that? Well, we had the Cosmo come over, hook its forklift in there, help take the groceries, bring it into the house. Or say we had a Cosmo waiting at the crosswalk to make sure a little old man can cross the street safely, correctly, and efficiently. So we had 2 different models, West Middlesex and Union model. Again, neither one are perfect. We just had to fit them into what our curriculum already was. So we had to find a way to get our pieces to fit. So the Union model, we had all 8th graders introduced to AI through collaboration between math and ELA. So we had 8th graders and some 7th graders introduced to this through their math courses and their English language arts courses. For example, both teachers had no CS experience. So they were entering into this fresh, wide-eyed, no experience, let's see what happens. And with the help from AI and just the simple mechanisms of the Cosmo, they're able to tackle that. Okay, so the hurdle was low enough. It wasn't that stress-inducing, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? How am I going to get out of it? Everyone, including the kids, were able to tackle this project pretty efficiently. It's not to say we didn't have any hurdles, but the hurdles are, in my opinion, a good thing because that also introduces the problem-solving aspect. We had our students create these projects using ELA and math, present these to the teachers, and they received a grade for it. After they received the grade, we got to choose the groups from there. Now, our model was more introduced during the day in the classrooms, whereas West Middlesex model, they were introduced to it. They all got a chance to work on it. However, they turned this into a after-school flex period. So if you're into it, you can continue working on it. You can go to the after-school program, work on the flex period. So theirs was more of, if you're into it, run with it. Ours was, we're all doing it, we'll find out who's the best, and then move you along there. Again, this was more or less due to our classes, because middle schools can vary widely depending on which district you are. You might have blocks, you might have certain enrichment periods, flex periods. I know at our school, we're small, so the problem with after-school programs is that we tend to have kids do everything. So to squeeze something in after school is not going to happen. So we try to build into our classes some new extracurricular activities to help keep the kids engaged, and also to move to the after-school portion, which would be a competition. So we had standards addressed through the competition, present claims, findings, emphasizing salient points in a coherent manner. So again, as well as I do, we tell the kids they're doing this, they'll say, excuse me. So we have to kind of sneak all this in and have them end up working on it and doing all this without them really having to understand this high and mighty education language. So we had in ours, and also West Middlesex, had the kids test, refine, work on, apply, move up that Bloom taxonomy pyramid as we went through. And these are a couple of the standards addressed. I mean, there are more if you really want to dig down deep. So here's a couple pictures from Exhibition Day. We had a judge who was a lawyer. We had another judge who was an engineer. We had a former gifted teacher. We had an engineer student. So we were talking to Ruth and said, well, who should we have judge? We said, why not get people from all walks of life? Okay, this project is in order to how to make life better. Let's have an expanse instead of having a principal and a guidance counselor and me. That's no fun. We also have our Lawrence and Mercer County Artificial Intelligence document that you're more than welcome to look at, refine, change, do whatever you want with. It's a good starting point. We're making changes still for this year. We plan on making changes again next year. It's a growing, living, breathing document. It's not refined in stone.
Thanks, Joe. Joe is right. So first of all, the most important thing is to actually involve the community. Part of the reason we wanted the judges to come from different walks of life is because we wanted to not just be for this, there would be a priesthood of people that want to get into robotics or AI, are also the teachers. But we wanted the community to understand why the students are actually learning these things. Why is it useful? And frankly, we don't want just this to be judged by people in computer science. We want this to be judged by the community. It's wonderful that you're learning about facial recognition, but how does it apply to your community? I remember last year I went to Joe's competition, or Union School and West Middlesex competition. One of the children's dad was a mechanic, and she came up. Hear me? Not he. She came up. The daughter came up with a project in terms of how they're going to be using facial recognition to detect, cars that need repair on the sideline of the turnpike. So, and she went to her dad with this idea, and so I thought that's quite clever. So, in a way, the kids get an opportunity to also engage their parents. Mom, Dad, I'm learning this, and this is what I'm learning. This is how I'm learning it, and this is why I'm learning it. We also have something called WASTE, the World Artificial Competition for Youth. In fact, this year's competition will be in this very same building. Yes, David E. Lawrence Convention Center. It's going to be happening the last weekend of July 25th. And in the past 2 years, we have ran this competition as a global competition. People participated from all over the world, from different countries. They did participate remotely. This year, we foresee the same thing as well. People from Saudi Arabia to China to Germany, Austria, all different places within the United States. And the idea for the competition is also to make the community aware of how AI is impacting them, how children can get involved, and really making them better citizens. This is an example of 2018 competition. That was our first year. Our first year competition happened on Carnegie, symbolically obviously happened on Carnegie Mellon campus. If you talk to MIT tells you they're the birthplace of AI. If you talk to CMU, they tell you they're the birthplace of AI. I'll let you debate it, but for us, Pennsylvania, we prefer the latter. I think CMU is the birthplace of AI. So anyways, we ran a fantastic competition. The age categories were, the youngest kid that attended that was 4 years old, the oldest one was 18. And I'm gonna actually show you an example of something that you can actually do in your school. Perhaps you can do it as early as this year, is what Joe and Emily did at their school. So this is an example of their competition. Sorry about that.
At some point impressed me, whether it was your determination or it was the creativity that you used or exhibited, the ideas that you had. I didn't know what I was going to be seeing today, and I was incredibly impressed.
So here's a quiz for you. What did you notice in the video that stood out? Yes? I would give you a hug, but I have a little bit of a cold. That's right. It's almost all girls. Actually, it wasn't all girls. It was over 70% girls. How many of you have been on a CMU campus, computer science school? How many of you have noticed the number of female students at CMU computer science school? Can you give me a percentage or roughly what you think it is?
No, I mean, I've taken some classes there for computer science, and the teachers were all female.
The teachers were all female? How about the students?
I would say it was maybe over 60%.
Over 60%? That's very good. Anybody else? Anybody would like to know the number? 17.6%. That's what, do you want to know that for the AI majors? Less than 7%. The question is, why is that? If we're not going to be attracting girls to AI, not computer science, to AI, what are we going to be losing? We're going to be losing a gigantic portion of the population that are going to be focusing on problems that we're facing, like data bias, ethical use of AI, the design problems. Why do girls get involved in these projects? Joe, why did your girls get involved in these projects?
Honestly, I think it's because there wasn't the stigma of just coding. But the ironic part is that they were usually the coders. So it was one of those things where, okay, we don't have this invisible wall, but we're going to get in, then we took over. We've noticed throughout STEAM, the elementary, our best coders are usually females. Middle school, they're really into it. Then once they hit that 9th grade, the high school, the CS classes, they tend not to take them. That's a problem myself and my superintendent have been looking at. How do we get more females to take higher level CS classes? We're hoping, which we wrote our PA Smart Grant to work with Ready AI in their curriculum, that this maybe will help pull the girls through and get them more engaged. So in the senior high level, they become more confident in their coding abilities, which tend to be, in my sky high view, better. But I think this project was kind of like a Trojan horse to get them into coding and demonstrate what they can do.
You're right, Joe. So let me actually a little bit fast forward about the challenges that we're faced with. What we do at Ready AI is we provide content and a curriculum. We also started, when we started the company, we figured there's a lot of toys sitting around. Why people are not using it, why classrooms are not using it as much. So we thought about maybe we should really unpack this AI idea. So what we did, we put all these components in something called AI in a box. We take it to schools, or we take it to the community, or we some schools actually purchase it from us. By the way, as a CEO of Ready AI, I don't recommend you purchasing from us. I recommend you getting it on your own. You can do so. Just come to us for the content. If you want to get it from us, it's perfectly fine. And from there, you're going to also be able to get an ecosystem of how to run a classroom, how to run a competition, how to get your community involved, and also how to even participate in a global competition if you choose to do so. We also offer some free training for the teachers. We've done so at Emily's school district. We've done so with some of the folks that are here have been to our training in the past. And we have right now a number of teachers, good number of teachers that are Ready AI certified. I really encourage you to come. There's no cost to that. And the only reason I say Ready AI certified because I want to make it a milestone rather than just a transaction. The other thing, it is also important to get your politicians involved. I don't like politicians, but we have to like them a little bit. So we have to get them involved in a broader conversation. So last year we decided to recognize the day of WACI as the AI Learning Day for kids in the city of Pittsburgh. For the first time ever in the city of Pittsburgh that ever happened. Actually, for the first time ever anywhere in the world that happened. Why did we do that? Because at the end, this will trickle down to the school boards. At the end, this will trickle down to the budget issues and the budget conversations that the school boards are having. So this is critically important for us to do it as well. So as you can see with our city council, we had the city council person, Darlene Harris, to hold the 5 big ideas, and they educated the city council member about what the 5 big ideas are. So this is an example of our Ready AI lab. What is our lab? I recommend all of you, if you're from Pittsburgh area, our offices are not too far. Office is not too far from here. It's in East Liberty area, very close to Google and Duolingo. I encourage you to come visit us anytime you would like to. We have an open door policy, even on Saturdays. So definitely come visit us. We have the Ready AI lab because we have an environment that we are constantly testing and refining and modifying our curriculum that we have in the market. So what do students typically learn? This is all available through our website. You can go access it at no cost. They learn the seven skills to access, also 5 big ideas. What are the AI applications? And through project-based learning, and they're going to be learning these skills as well. One of the biggest challenges I have when I go to school districts, I talk to politicians, I talk to administrators, I talk to parents, I talk to university professors. Well, that's all wonderful, but I got requirements. How do I fit it in? Right? First of all, we decided to really offer AI education in tiny chunks. So you don't have to go ahead and say, oh, wait a second, I really don't have 5 weeks to dedicate to that. And same case for Joe's school and other schools that used us in the past. So you can actually go ahead and, for sake of an argument, you can go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to teach kids about neural network. Yeah, I know the term is a little bit intimidating, but maybe I want to do it unplugged. I don't want to use any computers or any hardware or a software. Can I do that? How long is it going to take me? How about 1 period, like a study hall period? You can do that. How long does it take for you to learn that? Well, it's gonna take you anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. Like, let me ask Bill. Bill, how long did it take you to learn how to implement artificial neural network unplugged activity in your 7th grader and 8th grader class?
About 5 minutes.
Bill is smart. 5 minutes. So you don't have to be a computer science teacher to do that, to engage in that conversation. Do not be intimidated. But what also we've done is we said we got to be dividing this into sections. We got to be able to make the case when we go to schools. So rather than focusing on AI profile of a child, we're thinking about AI competency of a child, right? And as we're thinking about AI competency, we think about artificial intelligence applications. What do they learn? Very easy to measure. Computational thinking and programming. We have a way to measure it with Eclipse software. I can get into more details in Q&A if you have questions. And also universal skills. Joe is right. Part of it is the kids learning to work together, to present, to think about the ideas that they're passionate about. I don't want the kids that are coming to these classes to just want to become computer scientists. I want them to be lawyers. But know that in the next 10 years, sentencing guidelines is going to be determined by a machine learning algorithm rather than a judge. I want them to be product designers, but I want them to be conscious about the ethical implications of designing products. Do we design? How many have an iPhone? Take your iPhone out. Did you know an iPhone is designed for a male hand, not a female hand? Did you know that? Did you know the seatbelt that you wear in a car is designed for a male rather than a female? So we want the design issues to be, and imagine the world that we're going to be making more of these decisions. Do we want it to just be one-sided? Not at all. That's why we want the kids to start thinking about these things. At Montour School, what we did is we decided to do an experiment, and it was an amazing experience we had. We said, let's educate a group of kids in Western Pennsylvania about the 5 big ideas in AI. At the same time, let's educate a group of kids in China, in Shanghai, about 5 big ideas in AI. And let's put them, let's do a live session. It was 8 o'clock in the morning in Pittsburgh, and it was 9 o'clock at night in China. And we put them across each other to talk about AI. Anybody has a guess what they talked about? So we were so super excited about it. They're learning about AI, so they're going to go engage in a very good AI dialogue. They talked about other things, like what time do you wake up? What did you eat for dinner? Did you have lunch? This and that. But that creates empathy. So AI was an excuse to bring these students all together. We need more of that, right? So without going through details, I just want to briefly tell you, when you go on our website, I encourage every single one of you to go sign up, readyai.org, and go ahead and take a look at these lesson plans, implement them. We want your feedback. So what typically we have is you can start with your first experience, AI experience, then you can go ahead and start with our beginner's course, intermediate course. Everything is out there. We even have emails and infographics that you can actually send it to the parents. Be like, hey, your daughter or your son learned about this. This is how they've learned it. This is why they've learned it. And so what we're doing is we're also putting it in terms of AI competency framework. Each of these are increasing their competency. By the way, this is not the best way to measure it. This is just to get the conversation started. We need you, the teachers. We need you, the school administrators, to figure out how we can do this better. Right? So these are some of the resources that we have available. This is Andrew Moore. This is part of the reason that we started this. Andrew Moore is a former dean of Carnegie Mellon's Computer Science School. Now he's running Google AI Cloud. And it was also partially his vision. He says, hey, why don't we try to bring this to the K-12 level? And he came to our first WACE, and he did a marvelous job. And these are some of the pictures. I just want you to see these pictures of the students that attended the WACE 2018 and also WACE 2019. They did the projects, they collaborated, and you know what? Sometimes the projects actually didn't work out. The projects did fail. The program failed. There was insight for the kids to learn. Things don't work out always, so what are you gonna do if they don't work out? So, as you can see, these are some of the projects. Again, this is 2019, which happened also in Pittsburgh here, frustrated kid.
We had a couple kids, you could see in the video, the one girl waving her hand in front of the Cosmo. It's not working, it's not working. Okay, let's keep talking. So they learned, gotta keep going, the show must go on. We had a couple other kids right before they went on stage, we'll call it. They were trying to fix their code, something screwed up, they had to back it up, they were panicking, but again, the show went on.
The show went on, yeah. So, they're coming from various backgrounds, different backgrounds, and we also have assessment rubrics. It's available on wace.org, also on our website. Feel free to go download it. There are various areas that we're focusing on. We're focusing on the theme, how they design it, visual design, how the presentation was performed, and so on and so forth. So it's not just technical that we measure. for those of you, not for those of you, for all of us that are going to go downstairs, I highly recommend go to booth 1024. 1024. 1024. That's our booth. I want you to take a look at the exhibition that we have, which is a similar exhibition that we took to Carnegie Science Center. We are actually the first, so far, the only education company that are teaching children about how self-driving technology is working. Self-driving car technology. Why does it matter in Pittsburgh? Well, Pittsburgh is is a home to 5 self-driving cars. That's 4 commercial company, including the CMU company, self-driving car company. Why do we do that? Because in the next 3 or 4 years, we are going to have vocational jobs. We're going to have many jobs that are going to be driving the local economy, Pennsylvania economy, that's going to be related to that. This program was so successful that 2 other museums have implemented it. American Natural History Museum in New York, and as of next week in Berkeley, California, Lawrence Museum is going to implement that as well. So we also have a lesson plan for this. You can go ahead and take a look at it, and if you have any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer them. What makes us really unique? Let me put this aside. Forget about that. What makes us unique is we like to work with you. We want you to implement AI. Sometimes we don't have the answers. Sometimes we do have the answers. But we're going to be your partner. We stand next to you to make sure you bring AI education to every kid that you have in the classroom. So if we can do one thing right, is we can reduce the time to classroom with you, and we can make sure every student that you have is going to have access to a good AI education. Everything that we have can be downloaded on our website. I'm not going to go through the details, but I highly recommend before this conference ends, every single one of you go through AI plus me experience to learn about the 5 big ideas. So you can also give us your feedback and come back to us and tell us how we can do it better. And most important, what can we do to make our world, the world that we're living in, a better world? I was reading a book over the weekend, and there was a sentence that really connected with me. I wasn't planning on using it in a presentation. It says, the world that we have today is the world we inherited from our parents. Wrong. The world we have today is the world we have borrowed from our children. I really like that. I don't have children yet, but I do believe if there's one thing that's going to be impacting them in the near future, it's going to be the 4th industrial revolution, AI, and also this fast pace of automation. And at the core of everything we do as educators collectively is not to teach kids to code. One simple question: what does it mean to be a human being in the age of AI? What do we want to be? So I am not pro AI, I'm actually pro human being, and that's why we have Ready AI. With that, let me pass it on to Joe. Any final comment before we open it up for questions?
Just to go back to what you said, we had Cosmos, didn't know what to do. This exhibition really allowed our kids to engage, explore, and we liked it enough that we wrote the PA Smart Grade too. Enough so that we think we should expand it beyond our 7th and 8th grade to 6th grade, 5th grade, further beyond. And I agree, the coding's fun and all for some, but we need to find a different way to apply it, to use it, engage, create, curate content. We want our kids to be ready to fail. I know as a former classroom teacher, I had too many kids who were afraid to fail, therefore they wouldn't grow. And I think the competition provided examples for them, or possibilities for them to fail, to grow, move beyond, and try something different.
Thank you so much for your attention, and we'll open it up if you have any questions, or after the session we'll be more than happy to answer them. This presentation will be available online as well, and feel free to email us if you want us to send it to you. And looking forward to do this together. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll raise the first question. Yeah, I'm Andrew Chen. I'm the CEO of the Horan Group, which is currently financially supporting Ready AI and all the effort. In our director meeting, I asked Ruth, when this Ready AI can make money? He said, not in the next 2 or 3 years. And then our CFO just dropped her drawers. So I'll tell you why we support it. And maybe you have the question that are those guys trying to sell me? Are they another hardware company, software company, curriculum company? What are they getting? So the Horan Group, we support the Chinese student to be more successful in the US. We serve the overachieving Chinese mom. So I'm going to speak to you as say overachieving Chinese dad. So how do we view our kids in the future?
Andrew, I'm sorry, I thought you were going to be speaking on behalf of an overachieving Chinese mom, so it's a dad.
Okay. In the Department of Labor, the Job Outlook report of 2018 to 2028, there are out of the 20 job categories that with great job perform demand, healthcare and data analysis are the 2 areas that will get more of the new jobs. So the job is out there. With College Board, I just talked to the vice president of College Board. They just come up with an AP capstone. They're going to reduce the testing side of it, and they are going to increase the student capability of critical thinking and the communication skills. That's what the schools care. Harvard, and together with 80 other schools, they come up with the turning the tide. They want to admit students who cares, not the students who have the best score and just work for themselves. And as we speak, there are organizations in the US regarding national securities come to us to ask us how we can help to train the next generation to be aware of AI, to know how to work with AI together in this next competitive era. So that's why we are in it. We are not here just to say, to sell you the box, to do that. We have a lot of curriculums. Our role is really to facilitate, to make it easier for you guys to bring it to the classroom. That's all we do. We have very heavyweight AI in the box, that with software, hardware, everything. And also we have 1 hour curriculum that you can really bring in for the student to learn about the neural network, to learn about voice recognition, or to think about the ethics aspect of AI. How do they relate to their work? So that's where we are. So I just want to give you the feedback of why we are in support of Ready AI, and that may answer some of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. That means we can spend more money. All right, there were some questions here. Anyone? Any questions? So, well, thank you so much. Let me also say, since Andrew talked about the national security, the Department of Defense is working hugely on a big problem that we have as a country. You know, Department of Defense is working on, there's a commission called National Security Commission for Artificial Intelligence, and which consists of folks from the academia, from the K-12 school system, from the industry, and they're looking at how are we going to building the future of our workforce, because it is a huge also national security threat for us, our competitiveness as a country in the decades to come. So the portion that we are contributing to, and we are doing it transparently, and we're doing it willingly, and we think it is an important contribution, is to figure out how do we begin to train the next generation of workforce to understand AI, but most important, understand AI in the context of the Jeffersonian Republic that we have. What do we mean by that? Societal impact. How does it match our value system as a country, our founding fathers' value system as a country? So that's precisely the work that we're doing with the National Security Commission on Artificial Intelligence, and it will be available on our website, and we'll be more than happy to also share it with you. And the reports are available also publicly to everyone to view. Yeah. Well, very good. We have nothing else to add. We are here to help. Looking forward to working with you, looking forward to answer any questions. Please feel free to visit our booth to get a first-hand experience about how our software works, Calypso, how we are, what we are doing. Take a look at our curriculums. They're downstairs. You can take a look at it as well. And I genuinely hope that when I talk to our leaders in the Department of Education, they said there is something called Pennsylvania Future Ready Index. And I said, how do we measure it? They said, we have no idea. I said, join the club. We don't either. Why don't we figure it out together? So I definitely want you to think in that context as well. So once again, thank you for your time, and looking forward to seeing you downstairs.
Also, if you have any questions, you can email myself or Emily too. Thank you.
Ms. Emily?
Yes.
Oh.
So,
AI is as a new subject, as a new tool.
right, that's why I like to use the Trojan horse analogy, because they get involved without knowing it. They're into it.
How are you?
Yes, absolutely.
How are you? Good.
Okay.
Here to do everything.
Yeah, okay.
They paid a bunch of us. So for them, Justin, I think Justin's here. He's presenting more.
So the kids
I'm surprised so many people are here.
All right, I'll talk to you.
Okay, good.
All right.
always around the support.
Yes. So my position is
So I think the issue we're trying to
Oh, that's okay.
So like, if you want to just like get started on this response.
Yeah, we work with
I actually just saw
Monk Rock. So what's the, there are some curriculum that are very highly wired, and also they are totally unplugged.
Yes.
We really try to get in education.
What's funny is even use a sandbox.
The unplugged can be just with 1 hour.
Because you have so much code.
And also we can
As far as Calypso,
part
you'd have a
evaluation.
quarter of that.
Exactly.
Because it has all the different statements and teacher.
Because the originally when this whole project
We messed
started
with it a little bit.
with AI,
We stopped.
yeah,
I had some high school kids who
they
were
want to
messing
teach
around
the
with
kids
it.
that, but they don't have the means.
Middle school kids.
So
aren't
we've
picking
been
up
trying to
at
really
all.
speak the language that the middle school science
I know about as
teachers,
much
we
as I can
provide
off
them
GitHub or
courses
somewhere else.
we provide all of them support, so they can open the box, they can do it, or they can
That's
hold the lesson
in
plan and
Calypso
start.
last year was a little buggy
So
for us too.
that's what we do.
So we
And
didn't want to
currently we
commit to
have
teachers knowing that they would have
about
troubleshoot.
I think 11
So
curriculum,
this year.
and they are almost free to the students,
So
to
you
the
guys
teachers.
can like just.
They
mess around
register,
with
they
it,
pay
competition.
$3.99, and as long as they prove they are actively teaching the student and their kids, they are all free.
Possible, I mean, we've been trying to gain some more access to science,
Okay.
logic, programming,
They're very high achieving
lower grade level.
Yes,
But,
so you could do an exhibition maybe, that'd be a good thing, like an exhibition night.
Yeah.
Let parents
But,
see it.
Sam
Yeah,
Labs.
so we've been doing things like that for a lot of the stuff. The
And so that was good, because we had some teachers who were, forward thinking, but, if you had Mrs. Jones, you were good. You had
That's why I got lucky with Emily, a good friend of mine,
somebody
because
else who
let's try it, because what if we screw up
So,
with each other? So we won't feel as bad, like we'll be under pressure.
we're still,
We were under pressure just because we were a lot of kids.
It's 7th and 8th grade
Like
level.
knowing I could talk through like, oh, hey, you have different.
In high school, it's just always a big range.
An exhibition, I think.
I know. So we've been
Like, here's
passing
what
the
we're doing.
curriculum from age 4 to 20
Kids running, because we're
with
doing
pretty much case
our elementary,
12.
this is Steve.
So I think that the early success will be very important for
And I'm
the
not there,
teachers
it's
to buy
even
it.
worse.
We do have curriculum that are totally
So
unplugged.
tomorrow night, our
you just
elementary
grab
decided
a
to do
few
an
pieces
exhibition
of
on the kids'
paper,
all
like
projects.
what Bill said. In
So
5
we're doing
minutes,
that
you can
tomorrow,
deliver
like,
the
after next year,
So it's, this is just like a telephone game, but it's on the internet. So with that, we can bring
I will.
people in.
So we
I'll
are,
pass it
We
out.
are working
I-
with a few school districts on the PA Smart grant, various grant. We can do that also. But I think as
Because I was thinking about
school,
starting,
I think
like,
to
contour
find maybe the
fifth
low
grade because it's basic robotics.
entry,
right, fifth grade seems
low
to be
barrier
that kind of level where they
to
can
get
handle
in.
fourth grade.
And once the student
Yeah, and it's still walking, so it's easy enough.
Yeah.
And then I
So,
would move into school.
and we
so-
bring those
Yes,
curriculum
that's
from
my
the
goal.
professors at CMU. and
Yeah, so we're not far off.
Yeah, yeah.
At least,
That's
we
what
start thinking.
we are
Yeah,
doing.
good.
And we
I don't,
also, we
because I said, I
have
don't really have too many.
ready a lab.
I've gone to a cohort
All
meeting,
this
like
is
I
to
said,
give
we're
the
not
teachers confidence,
really
so that
fair
they can
to the
start
public
teaching.
around us.
As we have,
So to
once
know
they
where
are
we
in
are
there,
is weird.
Well, that's why we're even
It's not
small
that hard.
pots, like 750, she's 850.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not getting started, is a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
you're,
so maybe
Like,
try to
our ninth
try
grade
to
classes
implement
should look
just
at,
one say pilot
five.
of this
So
say
you'll see
1 hour
Yeah.
unplugged.
Like I see.
Say we have a
I know
course
I
that
teach
is
fifth and
developed,
ninth grade.
originated by
Right.
Oak Ridge
So,
National Lab
but I
and
do a lot of
improved
time.
by MIT.
that's
It's
kind
just
of good
3
too.
rows
It
of
is.
students.
Plus